For today's training, what I wanted to go over is the simple four-step guide on building win-win business referral networks without feeling awkward or uncomfortable. Now, many of you probably know why it's really beneficial to have those kinds of referral networks and relationships with other business owners. But if you're not entirely sure, one of the biggest reasons rather is because people will trust their provider, and if their provider trusts you, their customer client might piggyback on that level of trust and be willing to give you a shot without knowing a whole lot about you. So the benefit of that is you can develop that trust in your service and people being willing to possibly, hire you a lot quicker than if someone does an internet search. So these things are really important. In any event, another benefit of it is doing so, creating these business referral networks with other business owners that aren't necessarily competing in the same pond as you can develop a really nice community of, all the services in the pet industry, for example, where you guys have a really collaborative environment instead of competition based. So that way, strength in numbers kind of applies, and it's a really good format to, get more clients into your business. But the biggest thing I want to reinforce is that when we're developing these referral networks, is that you want to lead with value, not leading by asking, what can they do for me? Now, this obviously sounds like obviously, but it's actually, when it comes to practice, I personally have seen and done more of the opposite, where I'm almost looking for the other people to do something for me before I'm willing to do something for them. So this, without further ado, we'll jump into this four-step framework that's quite simple. Feel free to take any notes at any time, but to begin with, I'm going to share my screen so you can see a little bit more. So step one, now these are really simple steps, and it takes the awkwardness out of, hey, are you willing to endorse me? And really reinforces on almost like developing rapport with these businesses. Now, you don't necessarily have to follow all these steps if you already have a really good relationship with the business. It's more if it's a new relationship that you're trying to foster. So in any event, step one is actually using their service. So instead of just jumping to, hey, is it okay if I put my business cards on your counter here? And they're like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. That doesn't, just because they're there, doesn't mean that people are necessarily going to pick them up and leave and call you. Now, it increases your probability, yes. However, if this receptionist is like, oh my gosh, you got to talk to Derek, here's one of his cards, that's going to go 10 times further. So I want to, step one, actually use their services and get to know them a little bit, okay? So it's a little bit of a longer play, but it's not that difficult if, depending on what their service is. If they're a groomer, if they're a pet food facility, all these places we often use pretty regularly. Same with veterinarians rather, etc. A second piece is actually reviewing them. Okay. So if you go and review them, number one, you use them. Number two, you review them. They get an alert when you review them, but also you'll have a earlier step by actually just saying, hi, my name's Derek, or what have you, with step one. So step two is online review of their services that you used. So this is beneficial for numerous ways because you're once again leading with value. Obviously you only want to give them a review if you endorse them and think they're doing a good job. Okay. Excuse me. But they get an alert about it and they get to see, oh, this Derek guy showed up again. Right on. That's cool. Okay. Step three. What we would do then is, whoops, I don't know why that got so small so fast. We're going to formally, go back to their facility, formally introduce ourselves if we haven't already, and ask for printed materials of theirs. So that can be rack cards, it can be trifold, it can be postcard, whatever they have. Now, the benefit of this is you're once again leading with value. So you're like, hey, you know what? I'm a dog trainer. I run No Dog Left Behind. I was wondering, we get a lot of questions about, who do we suggest to refer when it comes to veterinary care. I was wondering if it would be okay if I could take some of your cards and or um, trifolds to give out to my clients that are interested in, veterinary referral. I mean, naturally, people are going to say yes the vast majority of the time, because most business owners always want more clients. If, for example, it's a groomer that has full books, they might say no, but like that's fine too. Okay. So, but the vast majority of business owners will be like very happy and tickled. Yeah, absolutely. You can refer people. Step four is actually referring them. So you start sending them referrals. Now, obviously, you can't necessarily do all these steps depending on what area or stage of business you're in. If you've been in business for a few years and you have a reasonable, decent, big client base, this step four will happen really quickly. You'll be able to refer people. But that's really like when you refer clients to other businesses, the client often tells the business, hey, you know what? Derek Snow from No Dog Left Behind referred me, said I should reach out to you because you could probably help me with X, Y, and Z. And that really sticks in and embeds. And what tends to happen is there's the rule of reciprocity in two forms. Okay. So number one, they might actually use your services. They might actually review your business as well. They might actually, when you ask for their printed materials, this has happened more times than not for me. Hey, do you mind if I grab a few XYZ from you? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Can we have yours too? Yeah, for sure you can. Sounds good. I'll just go back to my vehicle and grab some. So I have them on hand, but I almost want them to be asking me if they can have mine too. And typically, if you request theirs, they'll often request yours back. Not everyone, but most often. Okay. And then referrals, if you refer to a business, they're most likely you're gonna stick in their mind when someone says, "Hey, I'm looking for a dog trainer. Is there anyone you would recommend?" Oh yeah, for sure. You should go chat with Derek. Well, because number one, they probably started to like develop some rapport with me, no like trust kind of factor. And number two, I'm a great source of referrals for them. The only thing I would recommend is that you are very deliberate and diligent with who you select to work towards building referral networks with, because if the business is not one you would use or want to suggest, don't bother building a referral network because it's not going to be beneficial because you can't refer people to them. And if you do, you might erode your client's trust with you if their service isn't that good. Okay. So just be very mindful of that. Now, anywhere along this path, a bonus step, if you will, could be number five. We'll just throw this in, is drop off a gift. Now, the simplest thing for this is usually food or coffee. So, why do I say this? This could be at any time. But for example, depending on the industry, let's pretend it's a humane society or a rescue organization or a veterinary clinic or a groomer or a dog trainer, like any of these institutions, organizations don't often necessarily get a whole lot of positive praise for what they're doing, some more than others. So if you, for example, come with some donuts and coffee, obviously, the cost of what you're going to bring is going to be dependent on their staffing levels. So if it's a big veterinary clinic, I mean, I'm going to bring, a dozen donuts and like 12 cups of coffee in one of those take 12 types of containers. But if it's a smaller place, it's like 6 donuts is probably plenty. It's really about the gesture and taking a moment to say, hey, I see you. You guys are doing great work. Just want to say thank you. And then you leave. That's going to really imprint in their mind, like, who is this person? Man, I like them. Now, maybe not like, but you're going to stick in their mind as someone at least who is generous and or kind. So for instance, let's pretend I take 12 donuts and 12 cups of coffee to a veterinary clinic. What would I say? Well, I'm going to say something that I believe. I'm not going to make stuff up. And like, for example, veterinarians and vet techs and people at veterinary facilities often deal with a lot of difficult stuff. They deal with death. They deal with sick dogs. It's a tough job. And they don't always get the credit that they deserve. So going there and taking like 30 seconds to drop something off and tell the receptionist, hey, um, my name's Derek Snow. I just want to drop off a couple things and say thank you to you and all of the staff here on the amazing job you guys are doing. I see the hard work you guys put into it, and I just wanted to say thank you and keep up the great work. Then you walk away. Now, these things work significantly well. It's a longer game of rapport, but it's like you can develop lasting relationships for a very long time. And everybody wins with this, especially when you lead with value instead of leading with, hey, what can you do for me? You become very attractive of a possible person to align with because there's givers and takers in the world, and sometimes you can spot a taker really quickly. So you don't want to be that way because first impressions matter and you might be off-putting. So what I would really recommend is following somewhat of a four-step framework like this. These four steps can be done over like a week or two. You don't have to take 2 months or anything, but you want to make sure you kind of follow it as best as you can, because then you'll have the highest likelihood of successfully developing rapport with that business. But naturally, what you're doing needs to be up to par that they want to align with you. If you have any questions or any comments, leave them below. If you found value in this video, please comment that you did so I can continue to make some more trainings like this.